grab your cup. All of us come into this life pretty much a clean slate, right? There might be some generational trauma. That would be a different conversation. But for the most part, we come into this life a clean slate, ready to have a great life, wanting to be open-hearted, wanting to share, and then it doesn't go that way. I want to connect some dots for you. This is the work that I do, I've had to do in my own life. I saw it showing up all over the place. And then I'm very privileged and happy to do this with my clients because it transforms how life is going. So just think about this as I go through it. I want to connect some dots for you. So when that brand new soul shows up and starts to develop and understand who they are and how the world works and all of that, there are certain times when wounding can happen. So remember, a wound is if you cut your arm or your leg, the skin changes. It's not the same if you have a scar there, right? It's not as flexible. It looks a little different than the skin did before, right? That's a wound. So it changes something. So we have core wounding that happens when we're deciding about ourselves. And those core wounds create or lead to core fears. I say core because they're foundational to who you are as you're developing yourself. Those wounds and those fears are now part of the patterns of your life. Those fears will drive you to make choices. They will keep you in relationships or get you started in relationships that aren't the best for you. They will keep you from feeling successful. They will keep your health in a state of illness because it's a fear. It keeps your nervous system always in a fearful state, and you can't be healthy when that's happening. Not really healthy, especially if you notice gut issues. If you notice digestive issues all the time, things starting to get worse, that's one of the first things you'll notice is issues with your gut, and then it keeps going. As long as those core wounds and those core fears are present in your life, it's going to keep going. So let me give you some examples. I want to connect the dots for you. Some core wounds are things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I will never have enough. That's the wounding. So something happens to that brand new soul and they see themselves. It changes. There's the scar. So now I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy will create fears. And these are some examples of the fears. Abandonment, a fear of being abandoned, a fear of being rejected, a fear of being alone all the time, a fear of dying. Those are the common ones. So those fears are always in the background, or just fear itself, just fear. So when we have the core wounds and we have the core fears, we have patterns that don't work. They just don't. And if you're connecting the dots, I'm sure you're seeing that. I'm sure you're seeing where you've stayed stressed and fearful, the anxiety. Or if you've tried to compensate for those fears by staying in relationships that you really didn't want to be in, but you have a fear of being abandoned. Or you leave those relationships because you're afraid of being abandoned, so you leave first. You're afraid of being alone. Maybe if you have a core wound of I'm not good enough and your fear is being rejected, you don't ever really go for the jobs or the things that you want to accomplish because that fear is there. And you always have a sense of sadness. Depression is greatly driven from depressing down who you truly are and what you want in your life. So connect the dots for yourself. I'm enrolling right now in my Return to You program. I'd be happy to connect with you and share with you. We do a lot more than just the core wounds and the core fears, but that is a foundational place that you need to heal and shift if you want to change the patterns in your life. Okay? So drop me a comment. I'd be happy to connect with you. And have a great day.